one, sure.
Wow. And then my dream came true, recordable CDs. I still got my Tascam in the back.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, CDs, man. Oh, boy, I love CDs when they came out. I got rid of my vinyl so fast at the time. It's like,
well,
it's still cool.
I don't like the constant. You have to clean and preen your vinyl. It's just much more maintenance.
Yeah. Oh, I got some guy again, and
Well,
let's talk about this. Tim
it's
Allen.
like having a pet. If you're willing to do the cleanup, it's worth your time, right?
So
So
I mean, but there's a certain fun too. I got to say.
What do you clean your stuff with, Tim?
My vinyl?
Yeah.
like this.
I make my own record
His
solution,
tongue.
and I use the vinyl vac.
Okay.
Does disc washer still exist?
I'm not gonna.
No, but there's copies out there that I've heard are pretty good.
All you guys, when you have a vinyl album. Oh, Kit's in the wings. Hold on a minute, Kit. I'll let you up in a second. When you have a vinyl record, an album, and you take it out, I got a guy. He goes, I cringe again. You're doing it again. He tells me in the comments, you're doing it again. And I've told you this. I want you to stop doing it. When I take the very end, the dead part of it, and pull it out with my fingers, I pinch it and pull it out. It drives them nuts. Never supposed to touch because of the oil on your hands and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I never cared about the dead part.
You don't play the lip?
At the beginning, the lip. I take it out. He goes, don't do that. I'm like, look, I'm not going to change,
It's your record. You can friggin' juggle the thing if you want.
But I mean,
It's your damn record.
Yeah.
But he's talking about, does it ruin the sound? I don't think so. On the edge, I don't care. But anyway, let me get Kid up here.
Joe, along the same lines, when I was buying albums, people used to say, you can't leave the shrink wrap. It warps the record. I'm like, how? It's heat. There's a shrink wrap from 1985, I think, right here.
Yeah.
Doesn't warp the record. I don't know where that
I'll admit, I have had a very tiny...
Hello, everybody.
I've had a tiny amount of records get warped that were sealed a long time. But very rare, and usually of that vintage or 70s, because they're usually the very flimsy, thin stock. What is it? Cardboard. But it's rare.
Cardboard.
Yeah, the ones that warped are generally late 80s, mid to late 80s vinyl because it was so thin and crappy, and they weren't putting the perforations in the shrink anymore, so it couldn't breathe, and they were shrinking them too tight. And basically, there was just a loss of quality control. Those are the ones that warped. Everything else.
In my memory, the worst vinyl you could bend it at was the RCA Dynaflex. Did any of you own those?
Sure.
I don't think
ugly block letters, ugly yellow label.
Some of the Elvis ones.
Yeah, they'd bow like this.
Yeah. But they don't sound as bad as the late 80s vinyl.
True.
But it's interesting that you mentioned about how flimsy it got in the late 80s and all, because I was just thinking about that. I think I guess I didn't mention it on here, but I was at a record show recently, and when I was looking at 45s from the 60s, I was thinking that I was like, wow, this is really good solid vinyl. And when I was buying that in the 80s, it was really, you could bend it.
Yeah,
it was really flimsy.
Made great frisbees. They were so light.
Yeah, right.
I remember going to some of these hippie record shops where they would sell records converted into ashtrays. They're melted down. They'd sell them as ashtrays.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. They still do.
I missed a business opportunity. I sold all those records. I could have tossed them in the oven and made trinkets out of them.
There you go.
So do you oppose of that? Do you oppose of people that take the records and bend them like that and make bowls out of them and stuff?
Nah, not my records.
Yeah.
I have a couple of those. Thank you, Woodland Goblin. I appreciate that. Hi, Christian.
There's Woodland kissing Kit's ass again.
Flattery works.
Well, it's going to be tough, Day Tripper. It's going to be very, very tough then. I'm going to be last man standing, lone man standing again. I think it's great. I think it's a go-to version. They could go whatever they want to do. That thing needed to be cleaner sounding, and it is, and I'm very happy about it. And clean, but yet, in my opinion, still in places spectery. So it's not totally whitewashed. They can't totally whitewash.
No, you can't. If you've ever seen how that process is done, it's just there. It's just this big, huge box, and it's everything is hooked up to it, and you're not taking it out.
It's all self-contained
on every track,
right?
But I still, I told Mazzy, I said, "Hey, all I know is I could make out some of the words this time, in some of the songs."
Yeah,
so,
Christian, if you see on this side, on the other side of the Beatles poster I have hanging up there, that's a wall. That's a vinyl album clock as well.
I have one. My nephew got
one of those. Yeah,
I'm taking mine down
that's,
soon.
let it be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very nice.
Shea Stadium poster.
I don't have enough wall to hang it on.
Is that a reproduction?
I know. Yeah,
I need to buy some wall. I need to go to Lowe's.
Who we have somebody else in the wings here? Who's Grant Man?
Yeah. I need to buy some wall. I need to go to Lowe's.
Hello.
Hey, Kay.
Who we have somebody else in the wings here? Grant Man.
Right
you have to X out of the YouTube.
Hello.
Hey, Kay. I do.
YouTube.
Yeah, Grant Man, you gotta X out of YouTube. Okay.
Or anything else. YouTube mostly. Right?
Yeah. Is either an extra voice somewhere, or this place needs to be exercised?
No. That's what happens when you enter from StreamYard. You got to X out of the YouTube or whatever you entered from.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
I need to get that T-shirt that says "I listen to the little voices in my head."
Yep. I think
it sounds better right now.
I think you're good. Yeah. I think you're good, Grant Man.
All right. Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
Good.
Loud and clear.
Right on.
I'm going to do a cough. Where's the cough button?
Go ahead. We want to hear
it. What brings you up tonight, Grant Man?
I've been meaning to get on for a long time, and I just did it tonight for some, just feeling crazy.
We're too wild out, crazy
guys.
So I didn't join earlier because I wasn't really into the George Harrison thing. I'm happy with my original copy and the release they did a few years back, so I didn't jump on that. There's too much other stuff that I was interested in, so I didn't join the conversation.
Gotta like the outtakes, though. Gotta like the outtakes.
Yeah, outtakes are
good.
But how do you know you're not going to be happier?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
See, we're trying to make you spend money. We're trying to make you spend money.
Yeah.
Kit, did you get yours today?
Nice.
No, I think it shipped today because I ordered it through Discover.
Oh,
So I think they ship. But I got a great price on it. So.
Good.
So I think it's shipped today, and so I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
We're not talking about the Uber, though, right?
It's what?
Not the Uber.
And no, no, it killed me not to get
gnomes.
I know.
Gnomes.
Just say, hey, Dad, come on, Christmas is coming up. Come on, Dad.
I
can't you sell one of the cars? No.
I wanted those gnomes.
Yeah.
I mean, and the book. The book is gorgeous. It really is. I mean, that's
and your backyard is like perfect for. I mean, you got a beautiful backyard.
I know. I could have put those
gnomes right between the flamingos.
That's right, and it would have been perfect.
Florida style.
Perfect.
Yeah, somebody said. Well, I thought anyway, going to a park or something to open mine when the time comes. But then I thought, wait. It kicked me out. No worries. Well, I'll put you back if you want to come back. But I the thing is, depending on when it comes, if it's the middle of the week and I'm working, I'm not going to be able to go to the park then and do it. But also, with my luck, a bird would take a dump on it when I'm showing it. So
no comment. Take all the fingerprints off of it.
I got the Uber coming. Hopefully next Friday. Yeah,
Mr. Suitcase.
Yeah, so Kid, if I do get it Friday, would you be available next Saturday, maybe to do an unboxing or something? Or
I think so. Yeah, I think I could do that.
All right,
absolutely. Okay.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. I froze for a second there. Yeah, I think I could do that.
What is the answer to this? I would almost think yes, but I think technically it's no, right?
Yeah, that's actually a good question because I think they're actually two different things.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
it is
just
but
because it's remixed, it's remastered.
Yeah.
It's two different processes.
you can remaster but not remix.
Right.
But can you remix without
the
it being
simple
remastered?
definition of remastering is playing with the EQ.
Remixing it, why wouldn't you make it sound as good as you could?
Yeah, you would think so. Yeah.
Playing with the EQ. What were you saying there, sir?
The simplest definition of remastering that I've ever heard is they play with the EQ a little bit. Remixing is you literally bring instruments up, bring instruments down.
Right.
You physically adjust levels to emphasize certain things. I just wanted to mention something. It got lost in translation maybe 4 or 5 discussions ago when I was able to come in. Of the 3 albums that were remixed, Sgt. Pepper, the White Album, and Abbey Road, I thought Sgt. Pepper and Abbey Road sounded great, but it made the biggest difference for the White Album, which always sounded muddy to me. I bought it in its first incarnation on CD, and it still had that fingers in your ears sound to it with certain exceptions. But in a remix version, it sounded so fresh to my ears. I heard things that there was a clarity that was never there before.
Well, wait a second. I have to disagree respectfully, but the thing is, that's my least favorite of the Giles Martin mixes. But that's only certain tracks. Other tracks I like, actually. Some tracks I appreciate the mix, but some I don't.
Well, how does the new All Things Must Pass compare sonically to the old?
I love it.
It's good.
I dig the songs, but the mix for me was muddy the whole time, like a towel over your speakers kind of thing. And I always thought if that would got out of that kind of mix, maybe a more natural Let It Be, McCartney one kind of mix, those tunes might have sounded better. And I'd really like to hear them that way with absent the Phil Spector wall of sound thing.
The Spectre is turned down a bit, and George's voice is brought up a bit, and you can hear the frailty in his voice, and it's that's why I use the word revelation. Maybe I shot over the runway, but like certain tracks are better than others, but overall it's worthwhile. It all depends how much money do you have to spend on it, but it's worth investing in. I still have the original box set. What is the 35th anniversary?
Was it to the 2000?
Yeah, 2000. Yeah, I mean,
that was I have that.
And like it's like with Let It Be versus Let It Be Naked. It all depends on my mood.
Sure,
I have love for both.
I mean, I've played it twice. I've said I used the CD. I didn't play the vinyl, and I played it in my car, which is a great system. I always got to say that because people say in your car, and I don't know what that sounds like, but I used to have a crappy cassette player in my in an old used car. But this is great, and I'm like, I just loved it. I really did. I mean, there's moments where, as I've said earlier, there's moments where I say, oh, I thought I heard like a louder cymbal there, or I thought there was a little guitar that's missing. Maybe a little buried now. Whereas in other times, I'm like, oh, wow, I never heard that good instrument before. Oh, there's more guitar.
Yeah. The joy of discovery.
Sure.
And even like All Things Must Pass, which I think the song, which I think is one of the best jobs that they did. I mean, one of the best tracks that came out. Well, and I try not to sing, I really do. But one of the last times he's singing "All Things Must Pass," it's like I've never heard him sing it like that before. That one line,
wow,
it's like it's buried, I guess, originally. But then you're used to hearing it that way for so many years, so that's the way that you almost want it. It's so bizarre because sometimes it can be strikingly different, too different.
Right. Yeah. And you don't like it as much. I remember I'm a Van Morrison fan, and they remastered Astro Weeks, his classic,
Awesome.
And I prefer the original record, when they cleaned it up so much, some of the magic was gone.
Well, I heard that. People said that about, I know you don't want to talk about this, Grant, I'm sorry. But other people were talking about, a couple of people said they didn't like the song My Sweet Lord this way. Mm-hmm. And I listened to it twice to make sure. I said, I don't know what they're hearing. Everybody's unique. Everybody's individual. I mean, and I like it.
Everybody's hearing is different too.
Yeah,
right.
You forget that.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. I mean, And I still don't know if it's the same one as the Record Store Day single, because I remember I put the Record Store Day single on, and I'd heard this song 500,000 times in my life, whatever. And I put it on Record Store Day, and I said, wow, it just blew me away. Like, I love the sound of this. I never enjoyed it this much. And I don't know if it's the same one.
Mm-hmm.
But some people didn't like the Record Store Day single, so it may be the same one. I don't know.
Yeah, everyone's different.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But I like Paul Hicks better, I think, overall, better than Giles Martin. So,
but I thought his work on Sgt. Pepper, the stereo remix of that, just blew my mind. I thought that was just incredible.
In a car.
So layered.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it really. I sat there and took it in. And I was like, man, this is just.
I did like Pepper the best out of all his.
Me too.
I like Pepper the best.
Yeah.
That also means the original source material was really good. You know? You can't get magic from a bad master.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was my favorite, because I mean, when I heard the remixes, I mean, I heard instruments and all that I'd never heard before. I mean, there was, I mean, as you said, the layers that he covered were just outstanding. But when you mentioned about the White Album remix, I thought long really benefited from the remix. That blew me away, and that is not my one of my favorite Beatle tracks, but when I heard that, and I had the benefit of I heard it on and so did you, Tom, the Monmouth conference,
right?
And they played it on a big system.
Yeah, they did.
And wow, I mean, that I was just shocked at how good that sounded. I mean, it just absolutely transformed that song for me.
Well, I think that's a great example, because you're not the only one to say that. A lot of people said, I never thought much of Long, but after the new mix, I really like it. And the thing is, I can appreciate that, because I thought it was a good job with that particular track. But at the same time, what some other people are saying, there was an element of the sort of quiet, understated. I always call it creepiness. Kind of like a little creepy the song was, and then it would get louder, and I go. I kind of miss that too, in a way.
Yeah.
Oh, Mazzy's here. Okay, so
Mazzy.
He's one of the people that didn't like the My Sweet Lord. But when you say George's frail voice comes out more, not as epic. But you mean specifically because of the voice? Is it just the voice itself, or is it everything, the music and everything?
I
like the My Sweet Lord from the I like the My Sweet Lord from the early takes, Volume 1.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a pretty good version.
Well, I know Day Tripper disagrees with Mazzy, so there's right now he's going, Mazzy, what are you talking, for example? Because in case I use this bit, which I may use, I keep remembering every time Kit comes on, I gotta remember I want to do a Beatle Lounge with Kit, so let's make this good.
All right, let's
Mazzy, Mazzy, what are you talking about? And I said what I'm talking about. You tell him, Mazzy. No, I happen to agree with. See, let me tell you something interesting. Mazzy, Day Tripper here. He said he never cared for the song "My Sweet Lord." But he's an older guy. He's not a young guy. He never cared for My Sweet Lord, but now he likes it. So that's interesting. I don't know if that speaks good of the
Hallelujah.
bad. Yeah.
Huh. What always interests me when people talk about, remixes and the gear they're listening to it on. And I'm always reminded, my parents bought me a stereo when I was 10 years old, this little, kid type stereo, and I had 62 to 66 in the Hard Day's Night. And they never sounded better, man. They never sounded better. There's something, if I could get that sound back, that'd be awesome. Not actually the sound, but the excitement and enjoyment of the music.
Sure. Absolutely.
Right. Norman Maslov elaborates George's voice is mixed way up in the spiritual gospel spine.
He meant sound. He meant sound.
He said. Well, I like gospel spine, too. I like that.
Okay. And George, your thing in the background says device is not connected. So I'm sorry if I can't bring you up here. I don't know. I listened to it a couple of times, and I thought, let me see if I can hear what everybody doesn't like in My Sweet Lord. And I just couldn't hear it. We all hear things differently, and it depends on our systems. I thought one thing I kind of missed a little bit, although I generally liked it, was when the drums first sounds come in, when it starts like really, I really want to see you, and I'm like, oh, it wasn't as loud as I remember it, but then it gets really good after the initial intro of the drum sound.
I think in general, it sounds like they turned everything down and brought George's voice up in most of the tracks.
Well, some of them.
That's a consistency in the new version that I noticed.
Yeah. Well, I've heard some guitars brought up in some places. And the drums
spots
in some
here and
places. Yeah, but that's my ears. I've listened twice. Sometimes I thought I heard something that the first time that I didn't pick up the second time, and vice versa. And yeah, Norman says everyone hears it differently. Different stereo, rooms, ears, taste. Exactly.
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more, Mazzy. I'm bringing that up there just for the novelty of it, to have it on there.
I mean, I did something as simple as replacing my monitor speakers, and I've been listening to certain songs 30 years, things I never heard before from the same source just by changing my speakers.
Oh yeah.
I use a powered speaker called Audio Engine, and I get no kickback for saying that.
I'm going to be making my video eventually.
They're really clean. Yeah.
I haven't listened to everything. I listened to the album. I haven't listened to the bonus stuff. I listened to like 4 bonus tracks. But as far as the album itself goes, I really was interested in like three songs in particular. One of them was Wah Wah, the biggest one that I wanted to hear. Cleaner.
It is.
And I really like what they did with Wah Wah. I really do.
Good. I love that track, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's kind of muddy and
doesn't sound like a puddle of sound anymore.
Good.
Yeah. And again, let's talk about brass. Let's talk about horns. Again, this me being a novice. Are there horns in there? There are, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That part, I've said this earlier. People may not have been here. I'm listening to the new Wah Wah. I'm enjoying it. I'm like, oh man, I can hear George's voice so much clearer. It's so cool. Oh, it's great. Everything's sounding up and good. And then the part when it goes like, I'm waiting for the part when it goes, dun, 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 dun. I'm like, it didn't sound as like it's lost a little bit. It didn't sound as.
Oh no!
I was hoping that would come out. I'm like, oh man.
See, I like that part.
I love that part.
Yeah.
But maybe that's the thing. Maybe you listen to it on your system and your ears, and you say, "Oh no, that's fine to me."
That's probably the single best explanation.
What was the song on the Give Me Some Truth? That they took the horns. They took the horn. Yeah, they just took the horns out of that. Yeah,
yes. I was just thinking that song.
Yeah, I really was disappointed with that.
And who did that one? The same guy that did the All Things Must Pass, Paul Hicks.
Yeah, yes and no. He was kind of urged to take them out.
Yeah.
What tune is that? What tune is that?
Steel and Glass.
Steel and Glass. Yeah, because Sean had said in an interview that he's not the biggest fan of horns.
Yeah. So we'll leave it at that, I guess. But
his dad apparently liked them.
Yes, my Tijuana brass collection.
No one's taking my Tijuana brass collection.
That's right.
I love it. I love it.
Stay away from my whipped cream.
Yeah, stay away from my
Best
herb.
album cover ever.
Oh, by far. Right.
I think it's been emulated more than any other album cover. I think.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about album covers, and here's one for you guys. The Beatles have iconic covers. Abbey Road with the Beatles, and I couldn't really think of any other bands that had. What are the other iconic records? I'm probably Dylan's Free Willin'.
Yeah,
but, covers. The Stones don't have an iconic.
Sticky Fingers is an iconic.
Yeah,
okay, there you go. Okay, Sticky
Fingers by far.
Yeah, okay.
The first Velvet Underground album is iconic.
Oh, with the banana peel.
Yeah.
Strawberry Alarm
Wish
Clock.
You Were Here.
Oh, there's a lot
of the Elvis album cover. Whatchamacallit?
All right, I was wrong.
No, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going.
I was thinking maybe they can name one or two. Keep rolling them off, man.
No, but actually, there's a documentary that's been airing on PBS about rock photography, and they check your local listings, but it's called Icon. And they talk about like concert photography, magazine cover photography, and there's one that was about album covers, and they talked about how the Beatles really were pioneers in that.
Like
too.
everything else.
Like everything else. And, and particularly, I mean, even starting with the Please Please Me cover, even though, they got artsier, of course.
Probably with the Beatles is really the.
But with the Beatles changed everything.
Can I say something? Look, everybody knows that I think Pet Sounds is the most overrated album of all time, even though I like 3 or 4 tracks on it. 3 tracks, I think, 3. But like it or even if you love it, the cover stinks. Come on.
I think that was a very bold thing to do. I think that was a very bold thing to do.
Some Girls, I think, is a pretty iconic
Animal Farm.
Yes, indeed. Iconic. Yeah, Some Girls. Yeah.
With the pole out, and you can,
I've already said that, but okay.
No, this is Some Girls, not Sticky Fingers.
No, I said Some Girls.
Oh, did you? Didn't hear.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention to you, Joe. Sorry.
Trust me, I know. Nobody does.
What do you think of Charlie Watts not going out on tour with the Stones?
Well, it doesn't matter anymore.
Come on, it's the Stones, man.
Did he retire? Did he get sick?
He's just out too barely.
Doctors have advised him not tour.
He apparently had some surgery, and the doctors say, he shouldn't go. I don't know what the surgery was, but.
I mean, I would say it's one thing. Bill Wyman is one thing, but nothing against Bill Wyman, but Charlie Watts, that's tough.
Yeah.
Charlie Watts.
Steve Jordan's a hell of a player, though. I mean,
he is.
He'll fit in nicely. He's worked with Keith Richards a lot, and he'll get the job done. But it's not Charlie Watts, man.
Yeah.
Will Charlie record on the albums?
Well, I thought the album was
Charlie
done
record
already.
on the albums?
Oh, sure.
Not tour, but maybe record in the studio.
I thought that was the album was done. Didn't you say something about Tim about their album being done already or something like that?
It should be. They've been working on it 10 years. How long does it take?
They can take all the time they want.
Songs. 1 year, it should be done.
I read the Stones going to play a private party for Robert Kraft up at Gillette Stadium. I mean,
Paul McCartney's done that. Paul McCartney's done that for Robert Kraft
as
well. Yeah.
I don't know.
Before I throw myself into a purist.
Kind of a purist. I don't think rock bands should be doing private parties, man.
They're selling out, man, to the man.
Selling out. That's right. That's right.
Did any of you buy the Gurr collection with the gorilla cover on it by the Rolling Stones?
No.
I think that track Doom and Gloom was one of their best songs in decades. You ever hear Doom and Gloom?
Oh, I don't know that
It's
one.
called Doom and Gloom. I mean, it's melodic, it's catchy. I mean, it's infectious. I mean,
well, and I think some of their later material, Bridges to Babylon, Voodoo Lounge, I think that's really good stuff.
Voodoo
If
Lounge,
that was a younger band putting that out, they'd be, oh my God, this great new band. But I think it's solid rock and roll, man.
It's only rock and roll.
But I like it.
I saw them on the Voodoo Lounge tour. It was good. What's his name? Bryan Adams opened for them.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm down in Laredo, Texas, on the border. I'm staying indoors, if you know what I mean. On the border, 7 miles that way, and San Antonio is about 2.5 hours on 35, and down here it's all kind of Latino concerts. So I need to travel north to see the kind of shows I want to see. So I saw Bryan Adams and the Stones back in, what was the Voodoo Lounges, 87, 89? Somewhere around there?
I'd guess 89.
Gotta be later. 89 Steel Wheels.
No, Steel Wheels was
that's
89.
Right. Steel Wheels was 89.
94. Right. Well, Grant made a point about Voodoo Lounge. What my favorite track on there is probably, it's the last track on side 1 or side 2. I can't remember the name of it. It keeps going through my brain. I like it so much I can't remember it. How's that?
Nobody knows it.
See, that's a good indication. That's good indication when you like something.
Mean Disposition is the track. Remember that, Grant?
I don't remember that.
It's like it's an old school rocker.
Lounge.
Keith Richards is going out. It's really good. It's short and to the point, but it's good. It's a great closer. I forgot if it's A side or B side.
These guys are inspirational, man. They're still rocking. They're still doing it.
If you haven't heard Doom and Gloom, go back and listen to it, and you can beat me up if you don't like it.
I like the Rolling Stones. On CD. I'll check it out. I'll check it out.
It's Jagger with the swagger. The melody's on spot on. The beat, the melody, the lyrics are dark, but that's no surprise being the Stones.
Right.
But it's really catchy. It's really it'd have been a top 10 had it been released 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Right. And I saw the Stones in '81 at the Kingdom in Seattle.
Oh,
Oh man, that's a good place.
Oh, that was a good period.
Yeah, it was. Well, I don't know about the Kingdom being a great place, but I saw some good shows there.
Well, looks like Voodoo Lounge was 94.
94.
Yep, that's the consensus.
I included that in my
comments.
guesstimate, so that counts.
Oh wow, I thought that was 80s. All right.
Yes, Steel Wheels wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that. Although that's the only time I saw them was the Steel Wheels tour.
Mixed Emotions,
Yeah,
Rock
I
in
like
a Hard
Mixed
Place.
Emotions.
Yeah, I like Mixed Emotions, but still,
You can almost hear you sigh.
I love those. Those are the
Yeah,
three songs
great
I notice.
song.
Notice, here we go. Those are the three songs I know. And one of the ones are on it, but I know those three and I like those three.
Yeah. Steel Wheelchair Tour.
Who remembers when Mick Jagger paired up with Michael
ouch.
Jackson to do that song "State of Shock"? Do any of you remember
Oh,
that?
now that you
Sure.
mention it, I
Was
do.
that Michael Jackson? Wasn't that Tina Turner?
No,
No.
it was Michael
Michael
Jackson
Jackson.
and Mick Jagger.
Yep.
It was a hit too.
Yep. That was actually supposed to be a duet with Freddie Mercury.
Yes.
And yeah. And
Now, wasn't that who
Yes.
was supposed to? Was
Thank
it
you for
supposed to be Jagger and David Bowie doing "Dancing in the Street"?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
Joe's favorite
someone
song.
By the original one. I like
Is that one you sing in the shower, Joe?
Oh, it's terrible. That's where them dancing around and going like this and stuff. Oh, that was the
Yeah, that's
stupidest
right.
thing. It premiered, I
You do
believe.
that so naturally, Joe.
Yeah,
like
Live
it's not
Aid.
the first time.
Yeah, premiered during
Live Aid, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not
Without
good.
the horns, it wasn't done yet. They hadn't even recorded the horns.
Yeah, I
Wait,
do like almost
John
hear
Lennon
you
away from
sigh,
it.
but I'm trying to make this a Beatle lounge. It's okay to
Day
go
Tripper's
off once
right.
in a while, but
Oh, this is a Beatle. Okay, we'll do. I'm into
no, I
the
mean,
Beatles.
no, but it's not that I don't. If it was any other thing, yeah, it's like I didn't say it at the beginning, but I'm going to chop this part out from when Kid came on to now, and I'm going to use it probably as a Beatle lounge. You guys are going to be immortalized.
Yay!
On a
Are
Beatle
we in the
lounge.
lounge right now? Then I'll go get a drink.
So anyway, do we have to? I mean, look,
Yeah, join the club. Come on.
I got a little bit of water left here, just a very little bit in the bottom there.
Okay,
There
if
you
I
go.
have
See it.
to, I'm coming back. Okay, if I
If you
have to.
twist my arm, I'll do it.
But I mean, the Stones.
is
I always
calling
say people ask me my second favorite, band, a British band. Anyway, I say the Stones, which is true. But I think it's humorous. They're still together here. Where are all the Stones podcasts and videos being made?
Well, so you want to go Beatles? Can I throw a Beatles topic out there then?
Come on.
Okay, I was trying to think of like the 5 tunes that are most representative of the Beatles. The 5. What are the 5 tunes that
Possible.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I got done like "She Loves You"
That's first one I was going to say.
because of the yeah,
Strawberry
right?
Fields.
Strawberry Fields, or and
Jude,
some sort of
Hey Jude.
maybe "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds."
Hey Jude.
No,
Yeah.
hey, no, hey,
Ride.
yesterday. Let it be.
No, it's one guy.
The one I love is one that I recall
Wrong
Joe
answer,
hates.
Tom.
Yeah, I know. Wrong.
I wanna hold
wrong
your
lead
hand.
singer. Wrong lead singer. I know.
I still love the song.
agree
I
with
still
Hey
love
Jude.
it.
I agree with
I
Hey
still
Jude.
love it.
I
That
mean,
was
it's
the
not the point.
breakout.
We could love yesterday, but whatever. That's his opinion. That I don't share it. Anybody else's opinions? What do you have?
You hurt my feelings.
I don't
Even their
think it's
version of
reminiscent.
even their version of Twist and Shout can be considered. I think, with that such a powerful vocal from John.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those are outstanding performances, but I mean, just talking about if you had to reduce it to 5 tunes that were representative of the Beatles.
Hard Day's Night.
Yeah,
Day's
that-
Night.
yeah.
She Loves You. Hey Jude. Maybe Let It Be. And maybe Ticket to Ride. I mean, that's a good one.
Well, the
too.
reason I put Strawberry Fields in there, you need something
8 days a week.
psychedelic period, something
Yeah.
67-ish.
That's why I was thinking "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds."
Mhm.
I mean, to hear that tune and not think of like the "Summer of Love," when that comes on, the harpsichord part or whatever.
It doesn't. Nowadays it would probably be "Here Comes the Sun" because that's the most downloaded song on the
tell 'em.
planet. For Beatles.
Is it really? Didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'd probably swap out "She Loves You" with "I Want to Hold Your Hand."
Oh.
That was such a
Thank
I
you.
mean, that was their
Thank
big
you.
breakthrough.
I'll never understand that. I still think "She Loves You" blows away. I want to hold your hand. I'll
It's
never
not that I
understand
love it so much.
No, I
but
get it.
Yeah.
It's a song that I'm kind of burned out on, but it's a significant song.
Link.
That it is. That it is, but I don't like.
Right.
That's probably one of my least favorite Beatle tunes. I want to.
Yeah, it's not one that I play a lot. To be honest,
I
with
understand.
you, I'm a little sick of
You're
it.
telling yourself,
but
but
it's significant.
significant.
Right.
It's historic.
I'll give you that.
Yep.
A lot of my Beatles favorites were not hits. They were album tracks.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
One of my
Yeah.
I love.
All right, I made a mistake.
Tell Me Why. I love Tell Me Why. I like
Tell Me Why. Yeah.
I'll Be Back. To me is one of their best songs from the 60s.
Thank you.
It is a
Same
gorgeous
here.
song.
Yes.
It's not very
Happiness-
manly for me to use
Yeah.
a word like gorgeous, but that's what it is.
What tune?
Happiness is
Back?
yeah.
I'll Be Back.
That's
Happiness
my
happiness is a warm gun is
Hey,
one
Richard.
for me.
Hey, Richard.
How about I'll Get You?
Which one?
Mhm.
Richard's got something in the background. Richard, take the music off, please, and then I can put you up.
Yep.
I'll throw another wrench. I love I Don't Want to Spoil the Party.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a great one.
Yeah.
I think, was that the flip to 8 days a week?
Yeah,
I think you're right. Yes.
in the States.
Has any country artist recorded it? Because it's a really good song.
Was it
If
Roseanne
Ringo can
Cash?
record
Yeah,
that
Roseanne
naturally
Cash.
by Buck Owens, somebody could cover that Beatles song.
Roseanne Cash did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, Richard.
It's so refreshing to hear somebody do different songs like that. Like, I don't want to spoil the party, or Tell Me Why, like April Wine.
Hello.
I like their version of Tell Me Why.
Yeah.
April Wine.
Did Kate catch what I was playing there?
Well-
No, I couldn't hear it.
We don't want to hear stuff on here, Richard, because it could be tagged.
Oh, that's right.
You're not gonna get tagged for anything, Joe. Trust me. YouTube
I don't
does
trust
not-
you. You're the guy who said you would shave your head after you hit 500 subs, and you got
Yeah,
over 600 now.
yesterday.
Well, you know.
Richard.
Yesterday was the day.
Well, you know.
No, we don't know.
You know.
Can I take a twist on Grant's original question? What are your favorite Beatle cover songs? Like a lot of those songs they covered in their early career.
No, I was
Twist and
listening.
Shout would be number one, wouldn't it?
No, I was thinking You Really Got a Hold on Me and the stuff from the Smokey
That's good.
Robinson stuff.
Yeah.
Three cool cats and the chic of RB.
You mean
are
stuff
two
that
of my
the Beatles
favorites.
did the covers? That's what was
Bésame Mucho from the
Yeah,
Decca Years.
Bésame Mucho as well.
Cha-cha-cha.
But I can't say that one because Paul's the lead singer on that, so we don't want to.
You see, that's I don't
Granny
mind.
music, as,
I'm
Lennon
gonna
would
get
call
this
it.
out because I'm the moderator. I don't mind jokes when it's true. The only reason I said it, I just didn't feel Paul alone on when any of the Beatles there is indicative of the Beatles. I just don't think so. Hey Jude, you said right on. I agree.
Yes.
Hey Jude. So again, I squashed somebody. It's like amazing.
Well,
Where do
The
you get
White
that
Album
from?
is almost a compilation of 4 solo albums.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. 3.
What is it? They only played together on like 15 of the tracks. 14
Yeah, I
of the
didn't have
tracks?
any White Album songs. I don't believe on my list. Anyway,
Well,
I
was
like
playing-
a lot of the
I was-
White Album, except Revolution number 9. I can handle anything else.
A Revolution would be another
Well,
tune to represent the
I,
Beatles.
I was playing that
The
for
slow
Kit.
one or the
I was
fast
playing
one?
that for Kit and to annoy Joe. So
Okay.
yeah.
I don't even know what it was. I couldn't hear
I
it.
couldn't hear it. Oh.
Okay. Hello, Mazzy. How you
Hey,
doing?
Mazzy.
Hey, Mazzy.
I figured you needed an old guy here.
We've already got Tom here.
Just
Hey,
Ah.
Mazzy.
Tom's not old. He's not
I'm
old.
a
He's one of the
first
youngest
gen.
guys here.
I was 10 when the Beatles came out, so I'm 67, 66, almost 67. So
Mazzy, may I say, I just recently watched your tour of your room, music record room, and I was very impressed, sir. Especially the
Well, part
Beatles
of it-
stuff.
It is throughout the 70s and early 80s. I was in the record business, so I used to get a lot of promos and a lot of free stuff.
Yeah.
I had friends after that, so that really helped.
Did you send me these?
Is that the Canadian?
These are the 80s reprints.
Oh,
I was at
are
a
those-
radio.
you know
I was at a radio station with a guy that didn't like the Beatles. I said, "I'll take your garbage."
Are those are they the rainbow or purple?
They vary depending on the album. They vary. Like this Beatles second album, you can see my poor lighting is rainbow,
You-
and they came
you
in
know
the
about
same
Dead
set.
Wax on the record,
But
You-
the
you know
Meet the
about Dead
Beatles
Wax?
comes on purple.
If they're cut by Wally, if you see Wally in the Dead Wax, that's Wally Traugut, who's a great mastering engineer back then. and they sound better than original American ones. Most of them.
Well, isn't there something about the Apple stuff from 70, 71 that's supposed to be particularly good? The stuff on Apple from the early 70s. Have you heard that?
Could be. I've heard that. You know,
I did hear the Wally stuff. Now that's so. The Wally one. That's only.
It just says like it's written Wally on the dead wax. So
wow.
And usually they're really good. Not every single one, but they sound better than the original. Most of the Capitals, which we all have or we have, that are probably chewed up a lot too, just because they're so old.
Are you saying that from the 80s? The 80s repress?
Well, the ones in the 80s, the ones in the early 80s are great. Just before the whole transfer to digital, before CDs and all that. And a lot of people didn't play those, so they're usually well, because by the time 86 came out, CDs came out, and people stopped playing the records.
Right, that's something to look for. When you mentioned Wally, that rang a bell.
No Wally here.
But when you first said about the Purple Capitals, I didn't think they had anything special. But the Wally...
Some of them were purple, and they brought back the rainbow for a while then, too. I don't remember the exact years, but,
Because I forget the guy's name that was showing the later... Well, it was the early 80s black Capital with the rainbow, and said that some of those have really exceptional sound quality.
Yeah. It hits. I think it's hit and miss, and there's guys that know a lot more than I do about it. I just know it. I had a friend come over because I bought a bunch of those 80s records, like thinking it's going to be the last records because CDs were coming out. So I bought all the American ones and I kept them sealed. And then he came over, he goes, "Oh, you got to check these out." And I had no idea what he was talking about. And we played about 6 of them, and 4 of them sounded great. I forgot which ones now. 2 of them were okay, but they sounded amazing. I mean, if you like the American ones, a lot of people now go back and say we only want the British ones because there's no reverb added and all that stuff. But it's a taste.
I did a whole Fab Gab on that recently, which that's a whole other story on its own. I went through the whole phase when I was growing up, where I was like, oh man, I gotta have it the original way. I gotta have it the way they intended it. I gotta have the UK and so forth. And then in recent times, the last 5-10 years, I've gone back to Capitol. Part of it for nostalgic reasons, admittedly.
It's a different thing. Yeah. I don't think I got my first UK record until 69 or 70. And, obviously my generation, all we heard was the American ones, and I still like Rubber. I still like the American Rubber Soul better than the UK.
Me too.
Me too.
That's not the way the Beatles intended. That's sacrilegious if you're like.
They should have thought of it. They should have held over. They should have held. I've just seen a face for an opening track.
It's got that acoustic feel. That it just seems more of a folk rock album.
Yeah, and that's what everybody says about that one too. Just it's a whole different feel of an album.
Yep.
Right. Because I remember when I first got. Now I'm going to blank out. I'm Only Sleeping. It's what album is it on? It's on Revolver or Rubber.
Yes.
Yesterday today in.
But it was on.
Yesterday today in America.
Right. So I was so used to Yesterday and Today when I finally got a UK of that. I mean, hearing that guitar mixed backwards, that was so much louder than Yesterday and Today. I freaked out. Those are the things you love to hear.
I remember the first time hearing that too. I mean, even though these days I get a real kick out of, I don't know why, I get a real kick out of listening to the so-called reverb, like the Beatles' second album or something new. It's not so much, but it's when I hear Tell Me Why on something new, like it sounds more full or something, dynamic or something. And I really like those to the point now when I hear the original ones, they just sound a little more sterile. The UK ones, they sound a little more. I don't know. Sterile is the only word I could think of. They don't.
I think it's what we're used to too. Like when I got in, I just turned it on when you guys were talking about All Things Must Pass, and I'm fine with the new remix, and I've been listening to it all week. And maybe it's just I'm used to the original for 50 years, and to me, it's a little more hodgepodge now. And I like that over Spector stuff. That, as I said in the comment there, Spector left halfway through that record, and George finished it. He knows what he was doing. He mixed it, with his engineers. It wasn't.
Well, who was responsible for the ones? I mean, this is. See if you'd agree. I don't know. I always thought the tracks that were a little bit too much, in my opinion, was stuff like Wah Wah or Waiting on You All. Maybe were those mostly Spectre?
I just like those because they're so bombastic, and that's like wasn't all of a sudden in 1970 we started getting into the singer songwriter thing, and that was so different, you know. I mean, he could have done like you know, it would have been fun. It would have been a different album if he did all that acoustic country stuff like he does there with Pete Drake, and it's almost like Dylan's New Morning. It would have been that kind of acousticy country thing. But that, or Buku's the Blues was that same year with Pete Drake, and that would have been cool too. But that's not what he did, you know. Whatever.
Yeah.
And it was the biggest selling solo album for a while until Ringo, I think, right? Maybe Red Rose Speedway. I don't remember now.
No, of the Beatles
You know,
releases.
I've always been impressed with just how great the Beatle records sound, and I'm focusing on the early stuff like Meet the Beatles and the second. How good those records sound compared to other bands at the time. And when you listen to Please Please Me and the sonic growth from Please Please Me to With the Beatles, it's amazing. I mean, it's night and day. You go from this little band in 4 guys in a room to this huge sound. I mean, it's amazing to me the sound they were able to get on those records.
You got a great
The main difference I noticed between the British and the American pressings, they added a little reverb to the American versions.
But
aside from shuffling or
and I was a drummer. We used to think, how does Ringo get that cymbal sound? You know, I mean, it was just huge,
so good, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it just sounds excellent.
Sizzle.
The Kinks are my second favorite band, and their records really sound pretty bad in the '60s. But they're good because they're the Kinks, if you like it. But they're not well recorded records, you know.
Right, like the Beatles. You can take out the second album and play it now, and it's going to be enjoyable. If you took out some other bands, like I'm not going to call anybody out, their records just don't sound that good.
Well, call them out. Call them out.
Weren't the Kinks recorded by Pi Records originally?
Not wanting to call them out as an excuse for I can't remember at the time.
Yeah,
Did you ever listen to
producing?
Excuse me. If you listen, are you asking Tim to repeat?
No, I'm done.
Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. Listen, I was listening again to some anthology tracks, and when I do, I usually listen to. I love the outtakes and things like 8 Days a Week and I'll Be Back and all those kind of things. But I'm always amazed. Like I'll even say like 8 Days a Week that you get on the anthology. And I'm working on that song. Ringo's drums are so loud and pronounced, and they seem to tone them down on the release versions. Did anybody notice that? Like, I wish Ringo's drums were brought up more.
Well, isn't that part of the mix? Isn't that the mixing aspect of it?
Well, that's what I mean. But yeah, why? I'm trying to understand that because you got to hear like 8 days
coming out of the radio, man. To make it sound good coming out of the radio.
Yeah,
and make it sound good on
they were EQ'd for AM radio.
We got 3.
And portable record players, and you put too much bass on it, it's gonna skip. So things were toned down back then.
I always noticed how
Beach didn't want records coming back.
I noticed it with Beach Boy records. They sound really good coming out of an AM radio, and they wouldn't sound as good on the stereo because they're mixed for radio. But that's probably a little
that's why, Mazzy, I don't know. You're probably gonna go. I don't know how you feel about this, but I always talk about there was most of my life I listened to, say, the Beatles '65 version of "She's a Woman," or if you want a single in the U.S. with all that reverb, and I'm like, oh, I don't, when I finally first heard for the first time the UK version, I was like, oh, this is beautiful. It's so pure. It's so, clean, and now I've gone flip back and I'm like, no, I like it with that extra.
I did too. I like all that reverb. I like all that reverb on that too. I think it's too dry, the one without the reverb. But
that's what I mean.
Go back and forth. Like sometimes
it's funny, isn't it? That's kind of like what you're saying. Maybe with All Things Must Pass. Maybe is that comparable to what you're saying about some of the All Things Must Pass?
I don't know. I don't know.
I like the 2001 All Things Must Pass. They turned up the bass. They turned up everything a little bit, and it's a punchy mix, and I like it.
I'd still like to hear All Things Must Pass stripped or naked version of those tunes. I think that would be
maybe the demos.
The demos.
I love the demos are great. So I was talking about that in the video, but the first time in my life I realized those demos, especially the first day demos he does with Klaus and Ringo. It just reminded me so much of the Plastic Ono box with Klaus and Ringo and John. It was
you mentioned that in the video. Yeah.
You know, and it's just,
I almost
never
prefer
really,
the demo of Beware of Darkness over the album version. In fact, I might prefer
I like the demos.
It's the only one, probably, but
yeah,
it's great.
Beware of
but we always have something to bitch about. You know,
Yeah, well, you were mentioning
that.
yeah.
Years, and we bitch about it. That's what we do.
Can anybody tell me the history behind the two versions of I Should Have Known Better, the one with and without the harmonica drop?
There's one.
That harmonica drop made me crazy.
I don't like the harmonica drop. That's
that one appeared on the Hey Jude album.
Yeah.
I think that was just a different.
As opposed to the one on the soundtrack.
Stereo.
That was a different mix or a different, like, it's kind of like, you know, the Horzu.
But it drops out and then it, you know.
It's like when they sent the tape for the Horzu Magic Mystery Tour the first time, the second side is all stereo. They added that second, or the extra bar in Eye on the Walrus. That's the only place I ever heard that, and it was bizarre hearing that because they clip it for every other country. It's so weird that shit slipped out.
So, Massey, what version appears on the Yellow Submarine song track? Is that with the extra stuff, or is that the edited version of I Am the Walrus?
Well, no, that's the edit. That's I like that.
I never knew it was edited.
Song, that was all remixed. Every song. That was the first full Beatle remixed album.
It still sounds brilliant.
I like that.
But it is a shorter version.
I forgot who did that. I like those remixes better than Giles.
Hey Bulldog sounds amazing.
Yeah, they did a good. Yeah, I'm not a big. I was just saying, I'm not the biggest Giles Martin fan. I'm talking about as far as track by track. Some tracks I like, and some I don't as much.
I kind of agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah.
Adam, if you want to learn about ABCO, get to this book, and you will learn all about ABCO.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
And you will learn about how bad he screwed over many, many people. Alan
That's
Klein.
why all those guys re-recorded their music for years, so they could make a little money. Rydell, Chubby Checker, all those people.
And he screwed over Sam
do you have the
Cooke.
Cameo Parkway box?
Mhm. I have to get that.
It's nice.
Yeah. Is it really nice? Yeah.
Yeah, but then I extended my collecting to the individual collections: Chubby Checker, Dee Sharp, the Orlons. There's a lot of good stuff on there, but that box is a really good sampler.
Wow. I'm teaching a course in Philadelphia Soul in the fall, so I've been studying Cameo Parkway. So
well,
I've
a lot of the
all
Cameo
about these people.
They were very successful at emulating the sounds of the time. Some of the R&B related stuff almost sounds like Motown.
Mm-hmm.
They were very good at kind of mocking the sounds of the time, but they did it very successfully with several artists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm a Rydell fan. Yeah, ABCO. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so those releases, I mean, those people were out of royalties for years thanks to Alan Klein.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what he did to Sam Cooke was, I mean, he should have been taken in the backyard and shot. What he did to Sam Cooke.
Oh, he was.
Didn't the Beatles fire him? Or Paul fired him?
Well, Paul never signed the contract.
Yeah.
That's right. He wasn't there, right?
No, he was there for
but he
just never signed it. He didn't.
He was right about Klein. Let's face it.
He had a good intuition.
I still wouldn't have taken his in-laws. That's still.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't have too. I would have let's say, hey, let's compromise and let's find someone else besides the Kleins and the Eastmans.
Yeah.
Yes, I watched both Sam Cooke documentaries. I think one was on Netflix. I think the other one was on Amazon Prime.
I saw the one on. Lady Who Shot Me. I saw that one.
Yeah, both were good in their own ways, and
Did they talk about?
I wish they would have.
The mob.
Go ahead.
Possibly shooting him.
Yes, yeah, one of them did.
Really?
Yeah, talk about mob shooting.
Somebody's mentioning that. Yeah,
he was caught with a supposed hooker, I think, in his room or something like that, and and then he can't. Yeah, in the hotel, right? Yeah. So
Alan Klein was a piece of work. Yeah.
Ron Klein.
Ron Klein.
You're asking me where the money
that's beautiful.
is? I don't know.
I don't know where the money is.
What money?
When he was when he walked into the office,
somebody was hanging himself.
In fear.
People would rather commit suicide rather than meet him.
Jackie Wilson also got a raw deal.
Yeah.
That book, that does a great job talking about all of his clients and how
victims.
See, but in a way though, he did do good at first because he would get them the royalties that they were owed for years, and that they would the company wouldn't give these artists their royalties. Alan Klein stepped in, and not only did he get them the royalties, but he would get them a better record deal. But it wasn't until later on, after the signings, that they found out that he was getting a bigger piece of the pie than what they really agreed to get with the artists.
And they signed
with the Sam Cooke thing. Sam Cooke was supposed to have his own record label. Okay, that's what Alan Klein was going to do for Sam Cooke, give him his own record label. Instead, he signed it to where the record label was owned by Alan Klein and not by Sam Cooke, and Sam Cooke became an employee for his own goddamn record label. Pardon the French.
I don't mind usually, except I'm going to be uploading
it. Are you referring to Sam, the record label that Sam actually owned? I think it was called SAR, S-A-R.
I
or was it the RCA stuff, or the Keen record stuff?
I got to go back and read what the label was going to be called.
Yeah,
but,
I can't remember.
Before he was on RCA, he was on a.
No, this was toward right before he died. He was going to have his own record label.
He was still with RCA.
The SAR stuff more that's his.
This is this is the complete SAR recordings. 1950.
Okay,
is that owned by APCO though?
Sam Cooke on that label, if I'm correct.
No, that's the stuff
yes, it is. It's owned by Star Records, a division of ABCO Records.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Mostly
gospel.
Well, he got
he
his
was doing all that
everything.
stuff before he did the secular records. Before he did all that gospel-y stuff.
Yeah.
And it's great stuff. I mean, what a talent! I mean, my God.
Yeah, but
I have that box.
I don't want to buy. I don't want to buy any product by APCO, but unfortunately, I do have a couple.
Beware of APCO.
Yeah,
Beware of APCO. That's
and swinging that back a minute, I noticed. I think Mazzy was saying in the video that you did about, like, well, people always have something to complain about, and one of them was, we've already got this stuff. Was it you who said that we've already got a lot of this stuff, but what's wrong with having it together?
I go in those forums and it's always some guy. Sorry, guys, we're all guys. We'll say, we've heard that already. We've heard this. We have that. Well, when they do these reissues, they can't go in saying like these 40 people or 600 people have it on the bootleg. We got to pretend the bootlegs. We got to pretend the bootlegs don't exist, and then do it however,
Because I have an ICD. We've all heard it.
Sean and Yoko Sean's doing the better packages, I think. The Lennon stuff.
I think so right now.
Mazzy, it's funny you should mention bootlegs. I have this one. I've been waiting for an opportune moment to show it. Anybody else?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
ultra rare track.
Yeah.
It's on Swingin' Pig Records, a division of ABCO.
There's a whole series of those.
Yeah.
Now they want to talk about, that's the story. I mean, I remember I used to go into the Village in Manhattan, and they had what were they called originally? Were they ultra rare tracks, or I forget what they were called originally on vinyl?
Yeah, this is ultra rare tracks too.
Yeah, and I remember, I've like a lot of you collectors, I had everything, and I'm like, I knew what was available and what wasn't available. And then you see this vinyl album, and it says like it has like whatever was on it. Misery takes 1 to 6, things you never heard of before. There's a Place, and I'm like, take a couple of takes of that. I saw a standing. I'm like, yeah, right. What is this? So I said, I'll buy it because I bought everything back then. And I went home and I put it on, and I was like, sounds better than the one.
It sounded better than.
This is remarkably good
at the time.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't believe it. It's right off the masters. What is this? And what a surprise that was. That's around 87, I think.
But it's crazy how I remember when bootlegs, man. I used to be into bootlegs, hunting them down, getting them. That used to be a thing, and they're all gone now. I mean, bootlegs. There's so much material released by the artists.
You can still find them on eBay,
on the internet.
Yeah, they're still around.
I don't know that they're new stuff though.
One of the record stores, the that I go to here in Phoenix. I mean, they have a shit ton in the Beatles selection. So you can still find them. It's called the In Groove in Phoenix.
Oh, sure. Mike has that place.
Mike,
I watch his vids. Yeah.
I did a video.
So does everybody.
I did a video a few years ago, Princeton Music Exchange in New Jersey, where somebody told me, Marv, Beatle Vinyl 85, said, you got to see this. He was in New Jersey vacationing, and he was there, and he said they got like thousands of Beatles records, like a big collection they got, and he made a video of it, and it had all these bootlegs in it, because I had all these, and then I sold my collection, in like 2005 or something. And I'm like, and I wanted to get it all back. And here was an opportunity, like everything, imports, a whole collection by somebody, imports, bootlegs, everything you could imagine on vinyl. And I'm like, I got to get there. I got to get there somehow. But because of my schedule and working and everything, I couldn't take any time to go there for 9 days. So this collection was like there being picked for 9 days. And I made a video about it. And then I finally went there. And I think it was 52 albums I picked out of it. And luckily for me, I wanted what most people couldn't care less about, and that was the old bootlegs. So I was able to get things I used to have. The Mazzy, I know I saw one of your a couple of parts of videos of all the, those records. Stuff like the Beatles at the Beeb, like 13 volumes, which in one swoop I got them all back. Like those are ones that I had sold, everything. I got all these things that I had for years. In one afternoon, I got like 50 something of them back again. It was so great.
I remember that Beeb. I have a separate vinyl of Beatles at the Beeb, but I really like there was that CD box. In fact, I bought that in the Village at a place. The Beeb was like 18, 20 CDs. And
it was about $100.
The Great Dane.
I don't. That's so beautiful. I mean, that was better than the Beatles were putting out at that time.
Well, yeah, that's another crazy thing. I bought that in the Village, in the city. Ultimately, sold it. Then got it back. Sold it again.
I just hope Jesus forgives me for all the vinyl I sold when CDs came in. I don't know what the hell.
I did that too. That's what I did.
Won't need this anymore. Yeah.
I shouldn't say that. I sold all my vinyl around 86 when I got into CDs in 86. I sold vinyl, got rid of all the vinyl. I held on to the Beatles stuff in a closet or something for like 86 to 2006, just to hold it. And I said, I'm not playing any of this. I got rid of it. And then 2011, 10 years ago, is when I started to, getting into vinyl again. So.
Mazzy, someone wants to know where they can get the book that you wrote. Is that still available?
Oh yeah, the Beatles England.
You could probably find it for $1 on eBay, and it'll be $6 to ship it to you, or Amazon.
How much do you charge for an autograph?
How much is expedited shipping?
It's way out of print. It's outdated because they built the cavern and all that since. But we have copies we sell for $20 shipped. So email me, Maslov@maslov.com. Shipping address, PayPal.
I'll buy it.
I think we have like 100 copies left.
All right,
but it's outdated. So,
well, a lot of stuff is.
That was 1982. That was like almost 40 years ago.
And speaking of outdated, even these bootleg albums we're talking about are mostly useless now. There's no point to them anymore. And before we get back to this question, like I remember one bootleg I had was called, maybe you have it, I don't know if I've seen this one. It's called just Soldier of Love, and it has like this really crappy orange piece of paper on it. This particular album, and you can't hear that song for nothing.
The first bootlegs were those trademark Equality, and I think the first two I got was Get Back, and Great White Wonder, the Dylan ones, and those were 69, 70, I think.
So Joe, Soldier of Love is a Beatles bootleg?
Well, it was an earlier one, but it was like the song Soldier of Love. And it's like
I'm gonna go back. Is that the Arthur Alexander song?
Yeah, I think it's on Beatles at the Beeb. I think they released it on one of those.
But that's later when it was good quality. I'm talking about this one I first had.
Interesting.
It was like you couldn't hear it. It was like over a telephone that was 100 million eons away.
Soldier of Love also came out on a nice bootleg EP with 3 other BBC songs. I don't know, the late 70s or very early 80s.
But it's all for nostalgia for me. I mean, some of them are still good. I mean, but like the Broadcast album is very good. It's a greenish cover. There's a BBC album
I never
Broadcast.
play them because I have all that stuff on digital now, so I don't play
them.
Yeah,
so that's what I mean. There's no point to it really, except for.
But at the end of the day, collecting is about what you like, and it brings you joy. So it's worth it.
Mazzy, do you remember this movie that you were? This guy was asking about, Marcus, about what movie?
It's my buddy who I wrote the book with actually managed. there was a small artsy art house theater chain in San Francisco, Surf Theaters, and he used to get me into all these foreign films and independent films. And that Monday night, you know the Japanese director Akira Kurosawa.
Absolutely.
Kurosawa, yeah. I mean, famous. Yeah. He did Throne of Blood and Seven Samurai, which became
Hidden Fortress, High and Low.
Yeah, but the movie I saw called Kagamucha was the movie. Yeah, and I was watching it that night, and my friend got me passes, and we were sitting in the aisle, and the manager came at the end of the movie. All these guys, samurai guys, are shooting arrows into this one guy on the beach, and he dies. And the manager came up to me and he said, call David. He's at the other theater. He needs to talk to you. Apparently, John Lennon was shot. And I called him, and and he said he died, and it was just a weird thing. It's so vivid, I was 20. No, how old was I? 17. No, 26, 27.
Yeah. Well, you were so much older than Mazzy. You're younger than that now.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I was 18, and Double Fantasy is the only album that I really had a chance to be excited about going to pick it up, when it came out, because I really got heavily into Lennon around 76, 77, just when he was retired. So it was like, I can't wait till he comes out and signs a record contract, and etc.
So I was 19 years old. I was 19 in my dorm. Yeah.
Have you heard the stripped down Double Fantasy? It's great.
Yep. Yeah, I like that one.
It's awesome.
Yep.
I was 19 in my dorm room at Haggett Hall at the University of Washington, hanging a Beatles poster when a buddy of mine came in and said, "Hey, John Lennon was shot
in Seattle."
In Seattle, yeah. I said, "Don't say that."
I live in Seattle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So do I. So I remember going down to the Ave and going to this record shop that I used to go to all the time, and I'm spacing out on it. And I bought I think Imagine or Plastic on Demand or something. But that was quite the night.
Where do you live?
I live over in Kitsap County, so I'm across the water.
I can't blow it up, Tom, from here.
I know.
Outside of
where?
Now I got it. It's gone.
Kitsap is west across Puget Sound.
No, I know
that's the movie.
Because
Tom owns everything.
My ex, the mother of my son, my ex, one of my best friends, Michelle, lives up in Hansville.
That's north from me. I'm in the Silverdale.
Yeah,
I'm in the Silverdale area.
I know exactly, because I used to take the ferry all the time to Bainbridge and up, but now I just go south because I go. Yeah, and so I pass by Silverdale all the time. I was just there last week.
Or you go to Paul's, through Paulsbo and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's like right near Paulsbo, on the tip there.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm there like once a month,
Cool, man. Well, I'm here, man. Give me a call.
Yeah. Yeah. Any record stores over there?
Not really. No.
Then never mind.
No. I go to High Voltage in Tacoma.
Yeah, I go to High Voltage in Tacoma too, and it's not like the old days.
Right. My copy of Get Back is like a later 70s copy. It's not it's a white cover, but I do have Get Back. Mine's on Trademark Equality.
Mine was on King Kong Records. I had a King Kong Records with a red label.
Cellophane Square.
Remember the pig? Remember the pig?
Yeah.
Sure.
Blind Pig?
Yeah.
Sure.
The record shop on the Ave was called Cellophane Square. It was called Cellophane Square, and it was an institution. It might still be there. I haven't been in the U District in a while. It's all different now. Not like in the good old days.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not into football.
Cheers, everybody.
Oh, man.
Hey,
I don't have anything
I gotta
left.
get a refill.
This is a lounge.
Now it's a lounge.
My little beetle glass.
I'm so glad I hate football. I really am, because I would want Howard Cosell to announce the news about John. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I was living in New Orleans at the time. I was on my way out to celebrate something on Bourbon Street. Just completely blew my night.
Mm.
It was horrible.
I was getting ready for bed. I was sitting on the edge of the bed, taking my shoes off and everything. I got a call from my friend, and it was like, "Oh, you're kidding, right?" We used to joke or do stupid teenage jokes like
John
that.
George, man.
Yeah.
So, of course, I was 16 years old and I colored it in. You know, you do stuff like that.
Wow.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised you didn't write your girlfriend's name on it.
Yeah.
Did they make that in wood
You
shop?
should see, if you've ever watched my video, my very first Butcher cover I got from my girlfriend who gave it to me when I was 17. And she wrote on the back this whole lovey-dovey thing on the back of the album. But I wrote this whole thing. I went through it and wrote all the songs.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
A real underground album.
I love it. I love it. You made that.
Well,
Brilliant.
Yep.
It's had a stamp that said "Get Back," and I just filled it in. But then there was this one that came out after. You know.
Yeah.
You know, Paul sees this. He's going to hire you for the next album cover.
Yeah.
I didn't do this one, obviously. This is
You don't have to. You have the Black album. Do you have the Black album one?
Oh,
the Get Back sessions.
I do. I do have the Black. Yeah.
I think that might be one of my favorite bootlegs.
Caricature porn. Cool.
I had the Black album and I sold it. It's one
wow.
of the things I regret most.
Wow.
Cool.
Impressive.
I have about 60 or 70 of these bootlegs, something like that.
Wow.
Nice. What are they worth?
I have no idea.
Not much, right?
Next question. What is your address?
Actually, the store, you know, in Seattle, there's Easy Street. I just saw they got a bunch. They got a bunch of bootlegs like this, and they were selling them, not just Beatles, all kinds of groups, like all the trademark quality. They had them in their store for $30 and $40 a pop, just like about a month ago.
Wait, is that easy? Is that Easy Street? Easy Street in West Seattle on California Avenue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody
upstairs.
run down there and pick them up.
Right in the junction.
A few broadcasts ago, I was talking about some high quality
I
bootlegs
live
I
in
found
Columbia
on
City,
Amazon.
so usually it used to take me 15 minutes, but now the West Seattle Bridge is closed, so it's a bitch.
Yeah. 500 days today.
Have any of you run into Star Mark, the bootleg brand Star Mark?
No.
I must have mentioned this 3 months ago, and I brought the CDs out. I bought these beautiful Paul McCartney compilations, and they sound better than anything from the Paul McCartney archives. I'm not kidding you. The clarity, the punch.
They're like Purple Chick, kind of, you know, Purple Chick.
No, it's not Purple Chick. I can run to the file and get them if you want to see them. But I got to jog over next the other side of the plaster wall. Oh, it's show and tell night. What the hell? Let me go get them.
Hey, what record store in Seattle, Mazzy, did you go to on Record Store Day? I watched your vid, but I didn't catch what shop it was.
I go to Silver Platters because it's physically big, but now they do. I like what I do about it, and I'm 10 minutes away from there. They do the list thing now, so I got there just before 6, and at 7 they hand out a list. And at 8, they start pulling the list, and then they put it in a bag for you, and you come in and pay, and that's it. I mean,
is that shop? Is that Laura Queen Anne, or did they move and they just have the one shop in Sodo?
They had the one in Sodo. It's on First Avenue. You know where the Starbucks headquarters is?
Yes, the old Sears building.
Yeah, it's kind of near there. But they also have one in Bellevue, and they have one up in Linwood.
Oh, okay.
Bellevue.
What was the one in Laura Queen Anne?
I think that was before my time. I've only been there 8 years. Yeah, they were in the old. I think they were in the old.
Maybe like a personal thing.
They were in an Old Tower record store, I think.
Right. Because I bought a Beatles boot there for like $10. It was the trademark of quality. It was live in Vancouver. That 2-record set. It has the press conference with it.
With that great photo on the cover.
Yeah. So,
did you ever go to the Edgewater Hotel
and check out the Beatle room?
Well, they have the not the Beatle room, but off the lobby now they have this area with the fireplace, and they have the shots of the Beatles fishing out of the, and they have that's the famous hotel where Frank Zappa writes on the Fillmore album about the Mud Shark story with Bonetti.
Led Zeppelin. Didn't Led Zeppelin have an incident?
The Monkees, the Jackson 5, all these rock. It was the Rock and Roll Hotel, I guess.
It sure was. Yeah. And then you could go see Pete Barbuti in the lounge.
I don't know who that is. Is that
he's an old time.
Speaking of the lounge,
Oh,
How's everybody doing in the Beatle Lounge?
Good.
I can't see any. I don't.
too
You know,
could
it's when I have my
reminisce.
iPad. I don't. I'm not
After
able to
hours
see it.
at the Beatle
I
Lounge.
can't see the.
Why does it
comments.
have to be 109?
Here it
I
is.
know.
There it
Why
is.
couldn't it be like 1109 instead of 109?
I
It's
know.
10:09.
It's 10:09. It's 10:09 over here.
Well, it's
Yeah,
late
it's
here, and I'm not a night bird.
Massey, I have shown these on this chat before, so this
Oh,
is going to
yes,
be
you have
this will be a repeat
show and
performance for Joe.
I'd like
But
to. I'd like to see this.
if you spot these, they're great. They sound amazing.
Okay, let's see.
Oh, I've
yeah,
seen
I've
those
seen
on
these.
eBay.
Come
yeah,
on.
yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. I
Collection
get
of
here,
balls.
yeah.
I mean, this is impeccable. This thing.
You know,
And the
I always
label-
wonder. My friend David, my friend David in Jersey, David Bacon in Jersey, always sends me these files. So he has like all these things like this. So I might have.
Buy them.
Okay.
I don't like
They're
the selection
awesome.
of songs on them.
I
what I
love it
need.
because it gives you great variety.
No, I know. I have the Ringo and the George one, but
I mean, the
also-
variety is better than the pure McCartney set, but I mean, again, it's
I think the 4 CD set is.
Oh, I know. Tom's got a thing about that about the unofficial stuff.
I mean, I have bootlegs. Don't get me wrong. It's just I don't make it a hobby to buy them. You know,
These don't sound like bootlegs. That's the deal.
They
sound like
I've heard that,
premium studio recordings. That's what they sound
No,
like.
I know. I have a George one and a Ringo one.
And I maintain I haven't heard
two.
anything come out of the McCartney Archives projects that sounds better than either one of these.
Joe, is the George
not an exaggeration.
I wonder
is
if they
the George
take them
one the
from
one
the
you
high-res
showed
file.
on Talk More Talk when we
It's
talked
amazing.
about the George greatest hits?
Yeah, okay, that's the one. Yep.
That's the one.
Are they
yeah,
songs that are
that was
on
a
the
good one.
archive?
Which
Are they
one?
Songs that are on the archive sets.
I got it's right up here. If I can just, you guys.
Are they songs that are on the archive sets on those CDs?
Alexander,
You asking me?
Because
no,
all those came with FLAC file downloads. Maybe someone burned them from those FLAC files, those high-res files.
yeah,
maybe, but
I mean,
but they're
is
not.
anything from London Town and Back to the Egg on there?
Let me look.
Are those going to be? I hope London Town's next.
There's like there's like 40 songs.
Back to the Egg, actually.
London Town. Let me see. No.
London Town, Back the Egg would be my choice as next. Finish the 7.
No,
absolutely.
Well, let's see. Mulligan Tire, wasn't that a bonus track on London Town?
It probably when the
was
archive
it girl?
set comes
Was it
out.
Girls' School?
No, both will be on the London Town box. I guarantee you.
Right.
Because they were recorded during the London Town sessions.
Oh yeah, that's right. They were. Yeah.
That would be the only one that comes close to what you're asking about.
Well, I mean, they could have.
Mulligan Tire.
Well, that would be on pure McCartney.
Yeah,
so probably have the high-res file.
I have that one, Joe. I do. That's that's a Star Mark product, right?
This is the George Harrison. What would you call it? Equivalent of the Paul. It's only
same company that brought you the bootlegs that I have.
Yeah, it's got 2 discs and it's got like all different stuff, like you were saying.
And and the good thing about those is they pack them. They don't waste any space on there. I mean, they fill up about every 80 minutes available on the CDs.
And I gotta say, the
Lennon
Ringo
set
one,
too.
The Ringo one is really the best. I mean, I don't know how everybody feels about Ringo, but I mean, it has from the beginning, like Cuckoo's a Blues-ish time, really. I don't know if they have Sentimental Journey stuff on it, but it goes all the way up. It goes up to Postcards from Paradise, 2015. It's got like all kinds of good tracks on it.
From that same bootleg company?
Yeah.
What's my name?
I never saw that one.
What's my name?
I need to go hunting.
Ringo. But one time we did it. One of the first times I saw him do it, he goes, "What's my name?" Everybody said, "Ringo." "What's my name?" "Ringo." "What's my name?" "Ringo." Then he goes, "Just in case anybody forgot."
Yeah.
And I thought that was like so fun. How could you forget? Ringo, that's what you're there for, Ringo.
What's your favorite Latter-day Ringo album?
Oh, I love "What's My Name." Not
Me
the
too.
title track. I'm not wild
What's my
about.
name? Yeah,
That's
just about every track on that album is good to solid.
Ringo Rama, but that's not really Latter-day anymore. But I agree.
Not anymore.
Well, that's a good album, Massey. I love that album.
Yeah, no, it is.
I like Choose Love. Not in its entirety, but I love the references to the Beatles with the lyrics, and Mark Hudson produced it. And he's a Beatles fan, so
he's got to stop writing about the old days. Okay.
He hasn't done that on the last couple albums.
Exactly. I was in Liverpool.
I like to give more love.
Street, and it was a Liverpool.
Although
John showed up and brought his guitar, and we started.
Well,
get up.
There were a couple I like. I do like the song "Liverpool Late." I do like. If you're gonna have only two songs,
I wish he would go back full circle and do a country record like Who's a Beatles.
Everybody says that. Yeah, I
like
agree.
T-Bone Burnett or someone to produce it, and just
Sturgill Simpson, maybe any of those guys.
That makes a lot of sense.
He's a great. He loves country music, and not trying to be like rock and roll anymore.
Yeah.
He could do like a Roger Miller tunes, King of the Road.
And he's very tongue in cheek, so it would work. Like Act Naturally, I love that record.
Oh yeah.
One of his last country songs was great. How Can I Be Wrong for So Long? I think
that's
was
a good song.
Last, country songs.
And I still remember him saying in some interview that was going to be a country album, fully a country album. It didn't pan out that way.
Yeah.
I've got a boot with George Harrison and Ringo, and there is a country. Maybe that was an aborted country record because I got one. I should dig that out.
Did you all hear Ringo? He re-recorded Act Naturally with Buck Owens, I think in the 80s.
Right.
Oh, that was great.
I was playing it. I was working at an AM station. I went, whoa. It sounded pretty good.
It did. Yeah.
Wow.
I think there's a video for it, too. I think there's a video for it.
It's on YouTube.
Right?
Yeah, he recorded Act Naturally with Buck Owens, but he won't go back with Paul and give my regards to Broad Street Beatles.
Wall Street.
Well, because I understand that in a way.
Who's drinking, you or me?
He's afraid. He was self-conscious, I think, about trying to recreate Beatles.
When I start talking more like I want Ringo to do a country record, I've been tipping a few probably.
Not going to be much longer, folks.
And I'll be getting shorter as I drink. So.
That's right. That's right.
I'll drink to that. Cheers.
Hey, what do you guys think of McCartney's new video he has, where it has his younger self?
Well, I got my videos saying what I thought of it.
It's an interesting concept.
I like it because I'm a big Beck fan. I think Beck is the coolest artist in the last 25 years.
I love Beck too.
He does different kinds of things. I mean, his album Mutations is like a Bowie and Kinks record. It's so good.
It is good.
Real original. I agree.
I think it's a fun video. I mean, why not?
You got to get used to you get used to the imagery of his face, but
that's kind of
fine.
What does he think? Do you think he should embrace his age? Like Dylan is kind of embracing.
Well, that's the thing.
Never.
It's
they made fun of it at the end. He takes the mask off and it's back.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing.
Right.
No, but I mean, why? It's like that's the other thing I always say.
Embracing
it's like
his age.
If you're going to try to stay relevant, you might as well let yourself be a deep fake character that looks like a younger Paul, and have newer artists rework your songs, and that's how he sells it. I think while it's interesting, it's kind of sad too. I do. I mean, I think I just why just do what you do. People either like it or they don't.
Yeah.
And if kids like it, they like it. If kids don't like it, screw them.
Two oldest artists that were the most successful and stuck with true to their thing for my taste are Dylan and Leonard Cohen before he died. Because even if you don't like Leonard Cohen, he was doing stuff and it was really cool. You might not like his voice, same with Dylan, but I think
I didn't
well,
like
his later period you might not like his voice, but I dug his earlier 60s, 70s stuff.
That's true of all the blues artists. They did not change.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Tony Bennett.
Oh, can you imagine?
The
last
the
of
new
his
album
kind.
coming out with Lady Gaga.
Second.
That's supposed to be his
Apparently
last
it'll
record,
be his
right?
last. Yeah, it's supposed to be his last. So.
Did you hear his duet with Paul McCartney? The very thought of you.
Oh yeah, it's okay. It's all right.
Nah, it's not great because the problem is, I mean, Paul's, great singer, but a lot of rock.
They should have done that duet in the 80s.
Yeah, well, there's that, and also phrasing is an art.
Yeah,
you
Paul
know?
Paul rocks. He doesn't swing.
No.
You know,
Exactly.
like Tony Bennett swings.
Yeah, and
You know,
as I
it's a
said,
different thing.
phrasing is an art, and
It's like
Paul was
I
better.
can't
on
imagine. I
Kisses on
can't
the
imagine
Bottom.
Tony Bennett covering "All My Lovin'." You know, it just
Yeah,
doesn't.
right.
It's
It's a
his
different
thing.
style.
I think he recorded something,
I
didn't he?
love it.
I know Frank Sinatra did.
Sinatra
but
did.
I didn't like that version.
I will send two.
Oh, Tony Bennett did a great version of Eleanor Rigby.
Mm-hmm.
Not kidding.
Yeah.
He did a great version.
I think Frank Sinatra one time
it's
said,
fast. It's way faster than the Beatles version. It's got horns in it and drums, and it's
Who did it?
Good.
Who did it?
Yeah, there's a
Who
great
did it?
there's
Tony
a great
Bennett.
60s,
Tony
Mel
Bennett did
Tormé
Eleanor
record
Rigby?
where he does
Yeah,
Pretty Flamingo, and all these great things by Mel Tormé, and it's really good. It's on Columbia Records. All these pop songs, and it's so good. But him doing all the guys on her block call her Flamingo.
Oh yeah, his
version
of Secret Agent Man is great on that album.
Hey,
Yeah,
like a flamingo.
Secret Agent Man's on it too.
Yeah.
Secret Agent Man.
Yeah.
And I like Mel's stuff for Capitol later too. He did pretty good version of Happy Together and Sunshine Superman by Donovan.
Yeah.
And Take 'Em to Mother Maria. They're all really good, actually.
Yeah, I agree. I like Mel Tormé.
Yeah, the Velvet Fog.
Oh yes.
Who wrote White Christmas and a 100-degree day in L.A.?
That's right.
Yeah. Jack Frost nipping at your bird.
Oh no, the Christmas song. You wrote the
Christmas
song.
song. Yeah,
Christmas.
Mhm.
There's a clip of Mel Tormé, I forget what show it's from, where he does a lot of scatting. He's amazing. I don't know if he's with Buddy Rich. It's a clip I ran into it one night on YouTube. It woke me up. It was so good.
Yeah, he's a good friend with Buddy Rich. He wrote a book called Traps, the story of Buddy Rich. He did.
Huh. Wow, he's just amazing. I remember
it's spreading like a venereal disease.
Mel Tormé had one pop hit to my recollection.
Mel
You guys
Tormé.
remember it?
What's that? Mel Tormé had what?
He had one pop hit. It did better on adult contemporary.
When you
stations.
tell me, I'll remember it. When you say it.
One of his great songs, Too Close to Comfort, he did on Verve Records, which is really great, that album. I forgot the name of the album. It's really good.
Coming Home, Mama Baby.
Yeah, Coming Home. That's from that album, too. It
was on the Atlantic label.
He recorded that twice. One of the versions is from the same album as Secret Agent Man and blah, blah,
It
blah.
kind of swings, man. It's good.
The earlier one is on Atlantic. They're different.
I like the Atlantic version.
Yeah. I agree with. I agree that I wish he had done Kisses on the Bottom when he had a stronger voice. But somebody definitely, and it was probably Diana Krall, and I mean he worked with the best on that.
That was Diana Krall's band, and they were great.
They worked with him
at the
on
Capitol
his
Tower, the Capitol Studios. Where Nat Cole and Sinatra.
I like
John,
the I always say I
John
like
Pizzarelli. I mean,
and his dad. Yeah,
they
it's
definitely.
Worth it for my Valentine. It's worth the price of the CD. In my opinion.
I'm so tired of that song.
Me too.
But I mean, it's
an
song. It's of American songbook caliber. It's really I mean, if you hear it too
No,
much, that's
I mean, it
understandable.
definitely harkens back to that period. Don't get me wrong, but it's just, you're at his concert and he does that, and then I think it's just it just lets the air out of the room when he does that
He's
song.
got to do something. He's got to do something. For
Well,
Nancy.
I understand
after
that.
Singing,
He's giving everybody a toilet break.
Yeah,
I was gonna say it's the beer run song.
it's the bathroom break song. Yeah,
it's better than that song, Kanye song, 4 or 5 seconds. I don't want to hear that thing.
Yeah, he hasn't done that in a while.
He did a really good song with George Michael, "Heal the Pain."
Oh,
yeah, that's a good one.
It's great.
That's awesome. What year was that? Late 80s?
Well, I think it was late 90s.
Original. Well, he did the song in the 90s originally, and then he later for the greatest hits, he did the duet with Paul. Yeah, and he wrote that song. He wrote that song with Paul in mind. I mean, Paul really influenced that song to begin with.
It's awesome. They just sound great together.
Yeah, we should have recorded more together.
Like from Flaming Pie, is it true, Tom, that Beautiful Night was written in the 80s?
Oh, it was a mid-80s song, yeah.
He pulled it out of the vault. And...
He started that with Billy Joel's backing band.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, did that date to the Phil Ramone session?
Phil Ramone sessions.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's bootlegs out there. I mean, you can find them on YouTube. Yeah, you can find
I've heard
them
the
on YouTube.
bootleg. I like the product on Flaming Pie. I like the way it changes pace, and then you hear Ringo beautiful.
I do like those early
got the loose ends,
renditions. I do like those early renditions, but I'm glad he waited on that and left it in his back pocket until when for
that
Flaming
was a
Pie.
nice surprise.
Yeah.
Don't let the stars get in your eyes. Don't let the moon break your heart.
Harry Como had a shitload of
of course, I only know
Cuomo or
right?
Como.
One Up Triforce. If you're talking about Beautiful Night, that song is indeed a banger.
That's the term they use now.
Yeah. It is a banger.
I talk like my dad. Everything's gorgeous.
Yeah.
That was Billy Crystal saying, "Hey, did you look gorgeous?" I remember he released a 45.
No, Marvelous. Well, he did.
Was it Marvelous or
Marvelous,
Marvelous
on Saturday Night Live. Yeah,
you released a single. You look marvelous.
Yes.
Yeah, Ringo was on once with Barbara, and he kept saying that to Barbara.
What did he say?
You look marvelous.
Oh, marvelous! Oh my God!
Some marvelous words.
Yeah. That was a funny opening when they had him on like an auction or whatever like that.
Oh, that was a really. There's some good skits on there. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
the opening's
that.
very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that was good.
I like the clip of when Chris Farley was trying to interview Paul McCartney, and he's in awe of him, and he can't get through the interview, and McCartney's just being his wits himself, going yes.
Yeah.
He didn't have to say anything. Yeah, he didn't have to say.
Oh yeah. Hold on a minute. Let me blow this up.
What's that?
Awesome. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, that's
a Chip Moments. What is it?
That.
Moment album. Chip's Moment. Chip's Moment.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think this is that country record you guys were talking about.
There's a little concert of George Harrison performing with Carl Perkins. You guys seen it?
Oh, that's
yeah.
And I heard a very poor digital transfer on the disc one time. I'd love for them to clean that up.
Wasn't that on
came
HBO?
out on vinyl.
It was
HBO?
It wasn't
HBO
HBO,
special?
but it was one of those other ones. I don't know whether
I think it was Cinemax. I think it was a Cinemax thing, actually.
But it was a cable thing.
Yeah.
And George it's one of his finest moments on there, and he's having so much fun.
Yeah.
And supposedly that's what, if I think he said later, that's kind of what got him interested in recording, getting back out again.
Yep.
Doing that.
It was Eric Clapton that got him to go to Japan that last time.
Yep.
Yeah, but I wish he had toured in the 80s.
On vinyl, that whole show.
Thank you, Eric.
I don't know, 5-10 years ago, it came out as a double 10-inch set. That whole show. It was very limited, but it did come out. So it was available.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing, I mean, the Beatles covered a lot of Carl Perkins tunes, and George Harrison's guitar style is influenced by Carl too. So
absolutely.
I love Matchbox and Honey Don't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ringo does a great version of Honey. I love his version of Honey Don't on that.
This might be sacrilegious to say, but I think so many of the George cover versions on the Concert for George are great.
Oh.
Skip the Ravi Shankar.
Yeah.
Right to the show.
Yeah.
There's Ravi.
Start with Give Me Love.
I make time for Ravi, but I don't keep enough incense around. But the George stuff is brilliant.
Yeah, there you go. There it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let me put.
That's it. I've got it in the pile back there somewhere.
There it is. Oh, it's a classic.
But mine
that's
doesn't
an
sound
official
great.
release, right? That's not a bootleg. That's an official release, right?
No.
Yeah,
That's real. It's
I think is that a Sony product?
I've never seen that officially released.
No, it came out on vinyl too. It's a 2-record
Sony or Legacy, one of those.
10 inches.
Wow.
And
mine doesn't sound too good.
anymore. Shit, I have glasses. I can't see.
I just keep
You're not alone,
back.
brother. You're not alone.
And George looks happy.
One of the big labels.
I mean, my eyes are terrible. I thought this was Hawaiian Punch.
Oh, all you party animals at night. Come on, it's 1:30 almost. Wait, blow that up. Hold on a minute.
The night is but a pup, Joe. The night is but a pup.
Yeah, you can't really. It's hard to read, but
very cool. Very cool. I'll have to look for that.
But it is. I mean, that's really good.
Yeah.
So here's the $1 million question, because reminder, George looks happy there. He looked smiling, playing with Carl and these guys in
It
a
was,
way
it
that
was
he doesn't look
probably a
happy.
couple months. It was probably a couple years since he saw Paul. That's why he looked happy.
Well,
Oh,
like he doesn't look when he's
ouch.
playing in the Threetles. What's the deal between
Oh
George
yeah,
and
he
Paul?
was forced. He kind of was.
What's the deal?
He needed the money, didn't he?
Listen, Paul when Paul resigned with Capitol, they gave him a bigger chunk of the royalties, and when George and Ringo found out, and Yoko, I mean, they were none too happy about that.
Well, I could
So it's a money thing?
Yoko, but not.
Isn't it always?
Well, I
It's
was
all in the
hoping not
publishing. It's all about
man. Come on.
publishing. It's owning the
Who has
publishing.
the best lawyer?
It's kind of cool when groups like, what is it, REM and The Doors are the only two groups I could think of that all the songs were always written by all four members. Which is
Yeah,
kinda
but
cool.
they still had a hassle.
Unless you're the songwriter and do all the work and get pissed off that the other person's getting a cut. But I thought that was kind of cool.
Hey,
That is
Marcus.
cool, but they still had their disagreements on selling their songs for commercial purposes. They,
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. But at least they all got. It's kind of like it's a good example is the band. Robbie Robertson wrote most of the songs, and everyone got screwed. But then when they needed money, Robbie. I mean, people like to dump on Robbie, but he bought the stuff for them when they wanted to sell it. And of course, later they wish they kept it. I mean, that's you're hard up for money. I don't know what the answer is, but he wrote the songs.
Well, I know. What was the drummer in the band? The drummer in the band. What's his name?
Levon Helm.
Levon Helm.
He and Robbie had some issues.
Oh, his book like trashes them.
Yeah.
And he's the best voice in the band, but there's like three.
Right. Is he the voice on the Wait?
There are three great.
Levon Helm is, yeah. I
He's
think
the voice
isn't he
on
the
that.
Wait? Yeah.
I like
Robbie
Robbie
wrote
Robertson, Somewhere Down the Crazy River. It's solo.
Me too. That was
I
one of
love
the best singles of the 80s. I agree.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's
He had
classic.
the worst voice. He was the worst singer. He hardly sang, only background. So.
It worked on that track.
It did. It had this kind of sensual.
His solo albums aren't bad. He
knows
how to produce them, but
We're talking about royalties. Remember all the remorse that Paul McCartney felt when he told Michael Jackson, "Hey, you should get into publishing." And he said, "I'll buy all your songs."
I'm just still
buying all your
every
stuff
time
back.
that subject comes up, I still can't believe that Paul and Yoko together couldn't buy.
They could have kept it.
They could have
easily.
Easily, yeah.
So stupid. I mean, I don't think they thought about it. Like,
Yeah.
Well, maybe Paul wanted whole ownership of all that. Maybe he wanted majority. Maybe he didn't want to share with Yoko, because they had a lot of friction between them, didn't they?
Oh, they have still, I'm sure have some kind of friction.
What was it? A few years ago, Yoko wanted to switch the names on the credits.
Paul
No. Whose idea was that?
Paul.
Yeah.
Was it Paul's idea?
I think
you
it was
wanted to
Paul's
put McCartney, Lennon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
On certain tracks.
Yeah, listen to the Chris. It's an '86 interview by Chris Solovich, and rock journalist, and he interviews him and record it. You can get it on YouTube, and he talks about how he was instrumental in getting John to straighten up and go back with Yoko, but he was always complaining that John and Yoko will never, or that the Lennon story will never say that because you can't include Paul in the John and Yoko story.
That's his take, and John's
that's his
not here,
take.
so.
Yeah, that's it.
Paul was always accused of being the revisionist.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a reputation for that. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
But he was also. There's a documentary. Maybe you've seen it. Some of you might have seen it. Yoko Ono Then and Now, or something like that. It's from '83 or '4 or something, and it's got an interview with Paul. And Linda's sitting there with him and saying, "I used to think she was a very hard woman. I don't think she is now. I used to think I think she's a very loving woman. I used to think this. I don't think so anymore. And all this. So that was '83 or so. You saying that,
right? Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, it probably just changes over time,
Everybody, I never got the whole thing with anybody, especially John, about if you change your mind, it's like, the guy always changed his mind. I always change my mind. I relate to that. I mean, what's wrong with you thought a certain way in say 65, and you change your mind in 75? I don't understand.
Elections, remember when the whole flip-flopping thing for politicians was a bad thing, and now it's like no one gives a crap. You know, he's a flip flopper, and it would be against him. Now nobody cares.
But but to go back to the whole thing about the selling, the Beatles catalog and everything. Yeah, I mean, and full disclosure here, Tom. Of course, Tom and Joe know this. I wrote a book on Michael Jackson's music and art, so I was studying this whole issue, and I get all the time, this whole thing about Michael Jackson stole the catalog from Paul. Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much. I appreciate the plug.
I don't think he stole it. I don't think he stole it. He just bought it.
No, he just had a good lawyer.
He took Paul's advice.
And Paul had every opportunity.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Paul did this. He has a reputation of being a bit of a cheapskate,
Yeah, exactly.
in a lot of ways. And
he felt it should. Yeah.
They could have got together and said, "Hey, let's just buy it. Yeah. Let's do it outright now."
He felt totally. He shouldn't have had to have bought his music.
Yep.
Here we go, Woodland Goblin. The ultimate
I have a question. I always,
sycophant.
remember the Come Together thing, and Lennon got sued because of Here Come All Flat Top.
Oh yeah. Why didn't John or why didn't Paul get sued as well?
Paul? Yeah. I mean, it must. It's a Lennon McCartney song, even though it's a John song. Yeah. Unless John just took the reins and decided, "Hey, I'll settle this. I'll do a thing for them," and that was it. That was weird. I always thought.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
You never hear. Paul
there were some Paul songs that
Come
John
Together
had,
was a lift from a Chuck Berry song, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With the line, Here Come All Flat Top.
You can't catch me. You can't catch me.
I mean, I'm looking at it's kind of like George Harrison. Something in the Way She Moves is from the James Taylor song.
James Taylor song. Yeah, absolutely.
Caramba. I didn't realize
which was on Apple Records.
Well, George
I think in George's defense, though, I think he did ask James if it was okay if he used that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's like it's a one little bit to me. I think John got screwed.
George stole from that Mersey Beat song too. It was a Sorrow or a McCoy song, Sorrow, with your long blonde hair and your eyes of blue.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes, yep,
the Mersey
they did that all the time. I read this thing. It was an interview. I'm trying to think of the female artist's name. She wrote "Every Time You Walk Into the Room."
Jackie DeShannon.
And she was on tour with the Beatles. And George really liked that guitar intro. And listen to that.
Let's do it together.
Where Ticket to Ride. The intro to Ticket to Ride is kind of a lift.
Yeah. A lot of those. Don't get me started on that. There's a lot of things.
That's called inspiration.
The Beatles were just hacks, and they stole everything. Everything they did, they were hacks, and they stole it. Oh, yeah. They had no talent. Yeah. That's what's come out.
John stole most of "Run for Your Life" from Elvis.
Oh yeah.
What's the first line? Yeah. Maybe most of "Run for Your Life."
They made it their own. They made it their own.
Run for Your Life came from what Elvis song?
What Elvis song?
Baby, Let's Play
Baby
House.
Left Me.
I gotta check.
Don't forget, yesterday was Nat King Cole's "Ask Me." Don't forget.
Ask me.
Woodland Goblin made a comment about Lennon McCartney. I don't remember the exact question, but I had the answer, so I'll go and gear myself that way.
Yeah, because he's
Lennon McCartney. Early on in their career, they agreed they would go half and half credit-wise on all the songs.
Yeah,
early on. I don't know. Maybe there were some exceptions like Yesterday, but as friends and professional partners, they agree we're going to do, whether you write 75%, I write 25, or it's 50-50, we're going to go half Lennon McCartney. That was the initial agreement, as I understand it.
Is McCartney on Give Peace a Chance? I forgot.
Yes.
He is?
Yes.
Yes, he is.
And McCartney had nothing to do with that. So, it goes both ways.
Well, that's one example.
But he's not credited on Cold Turkey, I don't.
Apparently it was John thanking him. Wow. It was John thanking him for doing Ballad of John and Yoko is the story.
But isn't Lennon credited on Come and Get It? I think he is.
He sure is. It should be.
I like Paul's original Come and Get It.
Is he on that?
Good.
There's one thing on that one.
There's an interview somewhere I have with George in, I guess the 1880s, saying something. Again, it's paraphrasing. I don't know the exact song, but he says, but I don't get. And Tom walked away, so he's not going to hear it. Maybe he's hearing it. I want to wait till he comes back. This point will be heard by him.
All right.
I'll throw this in real quick. I'm always interested. How much is a copyright worth? I mean, how much does Ringo Starr make on writing Octopus's Garden, the one tune on Abbey Road? What does he get for that a year? What is that worth?
More than we make.
Yeah.
It only takes one.
You know, I remember.
Yeah.
You ever hear fresh air Gross on Terry Gross, right?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah. What about that one, Tom?
Okay, so on the soundtrack for Magic Christian featuring Paul McCartney's "Come and Get It," Paul McCartney is listed as the only writer.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, I
local
didn't
is that?
know that.
You guys know Nick Lowe, right? Nick
Sure, yeah.
Nick
Rule
Lowe
to be
was on the
kind.
Terry Gross show
all I know.
years ago, like 15, 20 years ago. Nick Lowe was on there and being interviewed, and he tells a story that one day he was opening his mail. You know, you get BMI ASCAP royalty checks. He opens up his mail and there's a check for, what he said was about $1 million royalty statement, and he had no idea what it was. He got $1 million because he wrote What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding, which was on the soundtrack to The Bodyguard, which at the time was the biggest selling soundtrack of all time, The Bodyguard. And he got this $1 million, and that was one check. So there's something
what
about
version
one
was the
song.
soundtrack?
Was he a co-writer on that? Was he a co-writer? Did he write that whole thing?
He wrote the song.
Yeah.
Elvis Costello didn't write
He wrote it with somebody else.
Yeah.
So
did he?
he did write it with somebody else. So that would have been a $2 million check if he wrote it alone. Forget who he wrote it with.
Well,
But
maybe I don't know what the deal was, but yeah. But I mean, it's just outrageous. I mean, so
Tom was walking away. Tom, you picked the worst times to walk away sometimes.
Oh,
I was
sorry.
going to make a point about George Harrison said in an interview, half in addition to this, and I don't remember the exact thing or the songs he was using, but he says, I could get into that game too, He says, I don't talk about how I wrote like a line on Eleanor Rigby or I feel fine.
Right.
Yeah. So the thing is, I'm telling Bull and Goblin mostly here, I mean, it's, Paul thinks it's like, everybody, who knows, So I'm sure George has more input. I'm so glad Paul gave him credit very late.
And I love her.
And I love her.
Yeah.
And then you start thinking about like with the Wrecking Crew when they do like the introduction, the bass introduction, the beat goes on. You could go crazy with these studio musicians coming up with these riffs. It's not part of the song. They don't get it. They get their session fees, and that's it.
Great documentary, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
That's an amazing documentary.
Yeah.
Some of those guys are paid pretty well too.
Oh yeah.
That's true. John was impressed that Paul could tune a guitar. Don't forget though,
But he couldn't eat tuna fish.
John discovered Paul McCartney. Don't forget that. What happened to Kit? Is she there? Oh, wait a minute. Kit, what happened?
Hit the wrong button.
I just wanted to get out of here.
Sorry about that.
I'm not going to tell my personal life to everybody. I have a reasons, and that's what it is.
When Tom gets the bat out, it's serious.
It's time to run.
We won't use this as a Beatle lounge.
So we're getting close. Are you in an attic? Where are you? You're like you're in a barn.
Oh, Grantman?
Grantman.
Who?
Grantman?
No, I'm just sitting in the living room of my house.
You got like an open. I like the bar, like the ceiling. Yeah. Are you by the water there in Silverdale?
I can see the water, but I'm not on the water.
Okay. Because I pass through there all the time, so we have to someday,
Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh, so seriously, folks, though, it's way too late, and this is.
I see some paranormal activity behind you.
This has been a real blast. A lot of people up here, some good conversation.
So you said you were a DJ, Alexander?
You guys and girls got to try to come on a lot earlier because it gets too late for me.
We'll talk next time, Alexander.
This is really wonderful.
Yes, I did terrestrial radio for several years, different formats.
Cool.
Anybody else?
I don't want to keep anybody away from bed. I know I'm in the central time zone, so I've got a little. Yeah, and poor Joe works hard for these. Joe, I just want to personally thank you. I love your chats.
Yeah, those are fun.
Oh, it's a good
I don't
time.
know if anybody ever says thank you, but thank you.
No, it's
Joe.
a good time.
Thank you, Joe, for all the things you do for us.
Thank you for babysitting all of us.
This was real. This was really a lot of fun, but it's not fun sometimes being a moderator with a bunch of people because it's hard to keep up, everything. But that's part of what you.
No, this is fun.
You want people here, and you want people very chatty and talkative and wanting to come up. Sometimes it's hard though when everybody at once. So
it's hard to judge when somebody's going to talk. So you just
exactly.
You turn your mic up a little bit louder, right?
I turned Mazzy's up louder because I thought it was kind of low at first.
Yeah.
So, no, seriously. All right, folks.
Oh, there goes Tom again. Oh no, he's back.
No, I'm just saying. I'm finally gonna watch Bringing Up Baby on.
Oh, you're not missing much.
Oh, I've seen that.
No, this is a great film. Great film.
It's all right. It's all right. You know.
I think it's probably the second best of the three that they did. Hepburn and Grant. Philadelphia Story, I think, is maybe the best.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
You got some good movies, Tom. Good taste, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
He's got a lot. He got every movie ever made.
Come on, calm down.
I was surprised you had. I was surprised you had Kagemusha.
Oh, I'm a huge Akira Kurosawa fan.
Yeah. He's got more movies than Rotten Tomatoes is rated.
Oh, you guys you guys and gal are right.
Pull off that Band-Aid, Joe.
That's why people want to.
I'm gonna pull the Band-Aid off now. You know, just I guess gotta go. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Let's do this again.
Good night, everybody. It was fun.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you for the great company.
Take care.
All right.